Greetings from your student advisory team. Welcome to the 2015 PSAT online training. This video will be made available for viewing until Tuesday, October 13th, at which time it will then be made unavailable for public viewing. Before we get started, if there are any PSAT related questions, such as when to pick up your materials or any day of questions in regards to the test, those will be addressed to Melissa at the assessment department. Please take note of her phone number as well as her email address. However, for PSAT logistics, such as the number of seats and chairs or tables that you'll be needing for the test, or um, anything regarding the buses, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Those questions will be directed to your student advisors at any time that you're emailing Melissa or your student advisors. Please loop everyone in regards to the email as well as your question, so that we are able to provide you with any support that is necessary and that you'll be needing to be successful in completing the PSAT testing. Let's go ahead and keep moving. Who will be taking the PSAT? All 10th graders and selected 11th graders. As of Wednesday, September 9th, a roster was emailed to all of the PSAT coordinators, and you were asked to add any new 10th grader at that point. Currently, at this point, we are also asking you to add any new 9th graders that will then be 10th graders by the time of the PSAT test as of October 14th. That email was sent by Melissa on Friday, 9/11. So if you please can work with your teammate and your center to get your roster updated, that would be great. At any time that we are removing a student from taking the test, please note that the way that we're doing it is not to delete the student from the roster, but unhighlight the student. So instead of the student being yellow, it will be white. And to the right of the student name is the test booklet number. If a student is taking a test, that column should be 1. If the student is not taking a test, that column should be 0. Once again, please do not delete any students from the roster. Um, when your roster has been finalized and ready for digital pickup, please update the file name with the pickup date of September 16th. For example, Bixby can save theirs as PSAT 2015 underscore Bixby underscore 9.16.15. Those numbers will be used for final ordering for materials, as well as completing your inventory control sheets for your center. Once again, please do not delete any students from the roster. However, indicate that it's a 1 for student taking a test or 0 for student not taking the test. Rosters are due back to assessment no later than September 16th, which is in a couple of days. That's Wednesday. It is a digital pickup, so make sure to save it at the center drive or on the center drive. Just to let you know, the 11th graders who are taking the test and who are appearing on your rosters are students who took the test last year and were below the 150 credit line as of the rostering of the students. Alrighty, so where to save our rosters? Make sure please that you are in the school site drive, area folder, your school site folder, and then the folder labeled PSAT 2015 roster folder. That is where you will be saving your most up-to-date file. Here's an example of a sample roster. If you will please take your attention to the middle of the roster right under the letter E. That should stay test booklet. That's either a 1 or a 0, as stated earlier. 1 for a student taking the test, and 0 for a student not taking the test, and we are not deleting the student or any student not taking the test. It is important that we add all new 10th graders as well as those 9th graders that will be turning as 10th graders come October. So please add those students to the roster as well. Should you have any questions regarding the roster, please contact your student advisor for further clarifications. The timeline is as follows. September 16th, the final rosters are due by noon. It is a digital pickup, so please refer to Melissa's emails in regards to that. The week of September 25th, parent letters should be mailed out. Those will be emailed out to you along with other documents after the training. PSAT practice test booklets should have arrived at your centers already, or if it has not, it should be arriving no later than Friday of this week. All students who are on that roster need to receive a practice test booklet. Off-site testing for those centers that are testing off-site at this time, this would be ideal for you to send out permission slips to parents. Those centers that are testing on-site, my suggestion is to count the number of tables and seats, including all rooms that will be utilized for testing, including the SGI rooms. And please make sure that when we are looking at the rooms, tables, and the chairs, that there is 4-foot clearance between testers. We want to make sure that we adhere to this guideline, and also get you the number of seats and tables that you will need to do the testing on October 14th. If you are finding that you will be needing extra tables and chairs, please work with your student advisor and your assistant principal to submit a tracket for that particular order. The week of October 9th, PSAT testing coordinators will pick up their materials from assessment at Irwindale. Testing materials will be locked and secured at your center, so once you pick it up, please return to the center and secure it. Also, please adhere to your appointment time. Melissa and Jennifer from assessment is asking us to relay this information so that the pickup goes smoothly and accordingly. For those sites that are testing, for those centers that are testing offsite, this is the week that you would want to take a look at the number of permission slips that has returned to you, and track down for those students that have yet to return you the permission slip that week. Moving on to October 12th, PSAT coordinators will work with their centers in getting the transcripts printed for those students that are on the roster. PSAT coordinators also please print the answer key instruction. In the email that was sent earlier, it's called direction sheets or cheat sheets, so please make sure to email to print those. I've suggested that for those centers testing offsite that we color coordinate. It is that way it makes it easier for us to designate which students belong to what center. So for the Bellflower Center, please print it in green. Wilson, please print it in orange. And Jordan, please print it in blue. Like I said, these will make us make our testing day go so much smoother if we have them color coordinated. For those centers that are testing on site, it'll also be a good idea for you to print them on colored paper. This will make it easier for you to identify with the student what paper they should be using while completing their student demographic information. Finally, on October 14th, that is a Wednesday, and that will be testing day, not only testing but also returning of the PSAT materials to assessment. So coordinators, please work with your team to ensure that everything is collected. All test booklets have names, students' name on them, and all test documents have students' name on them as well. Additionally, what you picked up at the assessment office will also be the number of testing documents and answer booklets that will be returning to them. So ensure that each and every student who are taking the test turns one testing booklet and one answer document. Also, PSAT coordinators, if you could also work with your team to work out the schedule for the day. In speaking with Julie, that is week 4, so we will be opening in the afternoon for students. If you have any questions regarding the timeline, please do not hesitate to call us or email us. That would be the best, and we can address any concerns or any questions that you have. All right, I did mention earlier centers that will be testing on-site and off-site. So for not students, for centers that are testing on-site at the center, that will be Bixby, Signal Hill, North Long Beach, and Dana Point. I urge you to plan ahead in taking a look at the number of chairs and number of tables that you have, counting them and comparing them to your roster to ensure that you have enough tables and chairs with the 4-foot clearance in between each student. Um, this would make it easier if we do it ahead of time so that we can go ahead and turn in a track it request should you be needing any more tables and chairs. For those centers that are testing offsite, those will be Bellflower, Wilson, and Jordan. Transportations are being taken care of, so any further information regarding those will go ahead and forward to you as soon as they come in. Additionally, permission slips, this will be something really important that we take care of ahead of time so that those students that are being transported from your center to the testing site, that would also take care of those logistics. For both centers testing on-site and off-site, please ensure that your students arrive on a timely manner. For those centers that are testing on-site, you may have your students arrive as early as 8 o'clock and then start working on the answer documents. For those centers that are testing offsite, my suggestion is to recommend to your students to come to the center by 7:30 so we can transport them as soon as we get them in the bus. Like I said, bus information and such will go ahead and be disseminated to you as soon as we have more information. Just a little bit more reminder for those that are testing on site. You are responsible for ordering your snacks, so work with your center coordinators to order those. The setup and breakdown of your center for testing. Printing student transcript, my suggestion is to print those the day before. Delegate proctor duties to all center staff, especially if you're using multiple rooms. Ensure that there's a rotation in the proctoring, and in that rotation, do include breaks so that each and every one of you guys will get your break and your necessary, time out while we're testing. Please ensure that you have your sign-in sheets. Melissa will be emailing those to you. When collecting cell phones, please remember to have a designated place for them. And testing materials for the center, please ensure that those are ready and available the morning of or even the day before the testing, that you know where it's located. For off-site centers, and those are again Bellflower, Wilson, and Jordan, you're responsible for permission slips. So please ensure that every single one of those students being transported from your center to the Lakewood Country Club will have a permission slip. Also, delegate a chaperone. There should be 2 adults in the bus at all times. Make sure that for each bus there's 2 adults chaperoning. If when it gets time for your center to take a look at who's chaperoning, and if you're short, please let us know so we can see what we can do about rotating stuff and having coverage for that. Print student transcripts the day before and have them ready and packed to go. Collect attendance prior to leaving both center and venue. Proctoring off-site, we are all hands on deck, so everybody will be proctoring. Sign-in sheets, please make sure that you have those. Also collecting cell phones. We are going to be testing as a group, so when we do collect cell phones, we need to make sure that we're collecting them separately from the other students from other centers. So you only collect from your center. Please make sure that the testing materials are ready for transport. Taking enough pencils, erasers, and sharpeners is really important, and all staff will be attending and proctoring the PSAT test with the exception of the center coordinators and compliance coordinators. In regards to the offsite testing, we really do need to work together to get our students there. If there is not enough if there's not enough seats in the bus, which I do not anticipate, but should that happen, I encourage that two staff will go with the students on the bus, and then the remainder of the staff will drive to the Lakewood Country Club for testing. Um, so if, like I said, if you have any questions regarding the off-site, on-site responsibilities, please contact us so we can go ahead and give you or share more information with you. Just a few reminders, student advisors, we are responsible for training the coordinators as we're doing now, determine who is eligible for PSAT testing, can assist in reviewing and editing your roster if necessary, and should be contacted for logistical questions such as bus and transportation or the tables and the chairs. The PSAT coordinators are responsible for reviewing and editing the rosters as necessary and having them turned in on a timely manner. Identify any students with special needs for the test that was due um, some time back. If we have any new students in need of accommodations, we may be able to submit, I take it back, we are able to submit accommodation requests for the student. However, it is not guaranteed that the student will be approved for the accommodation. If you need any assistance in finding out who tested last year, please refer to your center roster as it saved PSAT 2015, just in case anyone is asking for it or any students are asking for it. You're also responsible for the test material pickup and return at Irwindale, including preparing materials for their return. So counting and ensuring that every single test booklet and answer document that you picked up is being returned to Irwindale. And the final digital pickup for your roster is October 21st. The assessment department is responsible for sending out emails regarding any information for the rosters. We'll provide a resource folder for you on the server, update you as necessary when materials arrive at the designated centers, distributing and collecting the test materials, and they should be contacted for any questions regarding any testing logistics, such as test procedures for the day of testing, including security procedures, point of contact for any situation that could occur during the day of testing. I also want to take this time to remind you to ask your center coordinators to save and record a message on the phone indicating that we are testing in the morning but will be open in the afternoon for appointments. Alrighty, moving on along, planning for the day of testing. Please consider the number of students on your roster and the center's capacity in the main room and other rooms. There's only one session for testing, which means that the morning, for that morning, the center will be closed. However, in the PM, we will be open. Sorry about that. Each student will have a seat and must have a 4-foot clearance from one tester to the next. Remember that all students must have the same start time. Students who arrive late may join only if you are still working on the student demographics. If, however, you've gone and started section 1 of the test, the students are not able to join the test. No seating chart is needed, and all students must be facing the same direction, and tests must be organized per center. So for those testing offsite, we want to make sure that you're only collecting your student answer document and the test booklet. Once again, I want to reiterate that we are only having one test session, so therefore the centers will be closed in the morning. However, in the PM, we will be reopening and resuming normal business hours. Um, let's go ahead and talk about the designated addresses for BP and BP2. So in the student demographics section for number 6A, B, C, it will ask the students to complete that section by indicating the school that they attend, which then will be opportunities for learning, public charter school. If they are a Baldwin Park 2 center, the school code that they will use is 051546. If they are a Baldwin Park um, center, it'll be 051518. The addresses are very different, so please take note of it. BP2 centers are using the Rosecrans Compton address, and Baldwin Park is using the Arrow Highway address. Please make sure that this is what students are writing on their student demographic. There is a cheat sheet that has been emailed to you earlier. My suggestion is to print those for your students. It will immensely help them in filling out the student demographics. Compared to what we've done in the past, I truly believe that that cheat sheet will help you. For the Dana Point Center, your school code is 051517. Your shipping address, so the school address that they will use will be the center address. So you're the only center that will be using your own center address. A little bit about the test. The way that it's designed is that each section is timed. For example, a reading is 60 minutes, writing and language is 35, math is 70 for a total of 165 minutes. We are designating 2 hours and 45 minutes for the whole entire test. That includes 45 minutes for the answer document. That should be ample of time to complete about 20 questions regarding the students. So that 45 minutes allocated in the front end of the test will help students fill out their student demographic information. So this is what it looks like. To the right, there is no pre-bubbling allowed for this answer document. However, as stated earlier, time is allocated. No more than about 45 minutes should be ample enough time to complete this section. Please take your attention to box number 5. This is where the student ID needs to be indicated. It is left justified and left justified only using the 300 or the 3000 preceding number of the student ID. So please ensure that all students are filling it out left justified. Let's see. Box 3, 4, 5, and 8. Students will be needing to refer to their transcript for this information. This is the reason why we're asking you to print their transcripts ahead of time. The day before is preferable so that they have it as soon as they start filling out this document. Box 6A, B, C, and number 7 refer to the cheat sheet directions. They will have not only the school code but also the address that will need to be indicated for this section. This is the page or the last page. So for this section, for number 15, once they have filled the necessary boxes, any boxes that are unused, please ensure that the diamond on the very top of the page is bubbled in. This is to indicate that there are no more letters after that last letter indicated. And then for number 20, this is a research question. It would benefit the students to answer them because what ends up happening is they will be receiving information regarding the data that they have included in their answer document. Okay, moving right along. Please keep in mind from assessment, they have asked us to pass this on to you that PSAT rosters went out early in order to gather information for students that may need accommodations for the PSAT. Like I said, if you are including a new student who is in need or who are in need of accommodations, we are able to submit it to them. However, the deadline has passed, so there is no guarantee that they will be approved for the accommodation. Appointment times are scheduled for a reason, according to Melissa from assessment. So please be prompt and allow proper timing to process the documentations that you are returning to them. If you are more than 15 minutes late, what assessment will do is go ahead and move on to the next appointment time, and they will include you at the end as they go through the appointment. So our suggestion is to arrive early and prompt so that you can get in and out as quickly as possible. PSAT coordinators must return the PSAT materials for their center. Assessment will no longer allow multiple centers to be returned by one person. The reason for that is that if there's any type of mistakes or any corrections that needed to be made, either in the answer document or if something is missing, that the PSAT coordinator for that particular center is accountable for that, and the person who is delivering it will not have to be accountable for it. So they are asking us to let you know that you will need to return your own test materials for your center. Alrighty, in regards to student fee waivers, we wanted to let you know that students who qualify for the for the FRMP, those students will not have to pay for the PSAT test. None of our students are paying for it, as assessment is taking care of all of the payments. So that is good news for our students. Storage of the materials. Once you have picked them up, please make sure that you return to your centers right away and store them in a secure and proper place. The score reports will arrive in January. Once the score reports arrive, the PSAT coordinators will pick up the score reports and test booklets from Irwindale, and then hand that over to their student advisor, which will then distribute the test result and test booklet to the students. So that will be our responsibility, is to get them back to the students. A school copy of the score reports will be archived by assessment. It is in the drive. So if students from previous years are looking at their test result and score, it is available for viewing. Lastly, I want to share the resources that are available to you. So in the test drive under testing and PSAT, there are more testing resources that are available to you. So if there are any questions regarding this training video, please do not hesitate to call us. It is really important that we communicate in regards to concerns as well as anything else that could potentially come up. So we are able to be there for you in supporting you in that. Like I said, just email us or call us, and hope that this training provided you with the information that you needed.